What's up, everybody? I'm Sal Kalani. This is Reggie Steele.
Welcome to Spitballin. Did I come in too hot that time?
No, I think you came out good. I was delaying and messing
Okay.
around.
Okay. Good. How you doing, man?
So this is it, man. Rocking the Lebron, dude. Did you watch him last
Yes,
night?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, dude, he is not 100%, but he's still 85% or 90% LeBron is still 100% better than everybody else.
You think it's still his leg?
Yeah, it's his leg. He doesn't have the same lift. I mean, he's playing hard. He's still smart. He's an old veteran who knows how to utilize his conserve his energy, like when to go hard, when not to go hard, right? But he's gonna have to be close to 100% if they're gonna get past Brooklyn in the finals, because KD, that dude is a beast.
So you're already thinking they got the finals. They're gonna be there, bro. The finals.
I hope so. That's what I want. I mean, come on, man. That dude's been 10 times. Get to go 11 times, and if he can snatch this one, if they can,
it'd be great. Kyrie versus LeBron and KD and AD and Harden. I mean, you're right though. The Nets, we'll see though. So you think? I mean, that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I think everybody wants would be the Nets and the Lakers.
Of course, all the LeBron haters want to see him get there and lose, and then the LeBron fans want to see him get there and win. Either way it goes, and the NBA wants him there. Anybody who comes out the West that's not the Lakers, people are just like, whatever. It'll be like,
right,
yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, the Nuggets, the Jazz, and I don't think anybody's a threat in the West. I mean, once they handle these Suns, the Jazz will be maybe the only other real threat. But I still, I'm going to put my money on LeBron.
Yo, man, don't sleep on Denver. Denver's playing well, and Nikolai Jokic, that dude is legit, man. He's one of the best players I've seen in a long time.
He got smoked last year in the finals by the Lakers.
Yeah, they figured it out, but this is not the same Laker team. This is not the same Laker team.
Well, the injuries messed up their rhythm, I think.
Right, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%.
And then we were talking about, so you got a problem with little Trey Young there. I'm becoming a fan of Trey Young.
Man, look, see, this is the thing. You didn't play like high level competitively, right? And no disrespect to your level of playing. I'm sure you played whatever you played and you played well, right? The thing is that I've been in those situations where you talk junk and it's all that someone needs, right? Like my sophomore year in college, we make it at JC, we make it to the state championships. We're working out in the gym. We have our practice time, right? The team that we're playing against, Chaffee College, is like sitting in the wings watching us, right? They're kind of sneaking and trying to watch us practice, right? Guys on my team, as we're leaving, they see them and they start like, yo, what's up? Oh, y'all scared? Y'all got to watch us and see. And they're like, man, forget y'all, this whole thing. And I was like, yo, hey, man, chill. Don't worry. Let them watch. It doesn't matter. Let them watch because we know what we do. We know what we're doing. We're here for business. Man, I'm telling you right now, that interaction, we were like a favorite to beat them. That interaction right there, when I say that it fired up something inside them, Chaffee played the best game that they ever played in their lives. Right now, personally, I had a phenomenal game. I think I had like 25 points, something like 10 rebounds. I had at least 3 dunks. I was 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. Like I had a phenomenal game, but because of that interaction and because of us talking junk, it just kind of gave them that little motivation that they needed because they were scared of us. That's why they were watching us. Once they got that little spark, and you know what happened after that? They beat us, and then the next night they went back to being who they were beforehand. They got their asses handed to them, right?
Oh, back-to-back games,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. But
I heard, but man. I feel like, well, now look, Reg, now no disrespect to your game, but you never been at the NBA level now, and
hold up though.
You don't need that. Actually, you shouldn't need extra motivation at that level. And yes, you said you could still happen, but hey, if you got a leader there who's not just talking about I got 25, I got 10 rebounds, maybe they can include everybody and overcome that inspired team.
Okay, I'll say this. First off, I was never a selfish player. I was probably one of the most unselfish players ever, right? But that's just the game that I end up having, trying to help my team win. But this is the thing. You got to remember, too, when I was at St. Mary's in the summertime, because I didn't go home in the summer. I stayed on campus. In the summertime, the Warriors came up to play. And when the Warriors came to play, then everybody else in the area came to play. Steve Nash came to play. Gary Payton came to play. Brent Barry came to play. And you already had Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, Chris Gatlin, Keith Jennings, Latrell Sprewell, Chris Webber, Carlos Rogers, and then you had Ricky Pierce. Like, dude, you had all the Warriors. Byron Houston, like, you had the whole squad. Victor Alexander. You had the whole squad up there all summer. And then you had other guys coming in all the time. So being in that gym and listening to all the shit that they talk and to see dudes elevate their game, sometimes it's just like, yo, man, if you good, just ball out, because your game speaks way louder than anything you can say.
Well, you know, Jordan, Kobe, they talk trash. They're great.
Yeah, and that's two people.
There's always
and Gary Payton.
Joel Embiid talks mad game now.
He hadn't done anything yet, though.
Well, but they still talk. People still talk. Yeah. But look, Trey Young hits the game winner in game 1 at Madison Square Garden. They're giving him a hard time. And then game 2, you could say, oh, they're going to play harder on him. But he still put up 30. He's still the best player on the floor. So that's why I still think the Hawks could take it. I mean, Julius Randle, if he's hot, but I don't think he's as consistent.
Well, Julius Randle is having a hard time right now. Like it's his first playoffs, just like Trey Young is his first playoffs. Like, there has to be an adjustment. The playoffs is totally different than the regular season. So both teams will make adjustments. Look, personally, and this is just my opinion and my point of view, like, you're a guy that wants to talk junk, right? Like, you want to be like, yeah, take that. Whatever. That's right. I'm the dude. Like, I would prefer to just be the quiet assassin. Like, I literally would not say a word, and I come out and I bust your ass and I beat your head in, and you'd want me to say something so you can be mad at me, but I'll just beat your ass and be like, yo, man, good game. And then advance, right? Like, straight up, just like bust it. I bust your ass.
But it's fun if you could do both, right? Bust your ass and let you know it.
See, this is the thing. I don't need to say it. Because if I'm good, like, seriously, if I'm good and I come out and I wreck shop, then everybody else says it for me, right? Like, I don't have to brag. I just let my actions.
And Crowder were getting into it last night.
Yeah. Well, they played together, right?
Yeah, the Cavs, baby.
Yeah. And,
that was not a good trade.
No, Jay Crowder didn't do jack shit when he was with Cleveland.
So he was way better with Boston.
Way better. So now that he's on another team playing against LeBron like, oh, now you want to play well. Yeah. Now you want to be. He's like, oh, now you want to hit a couple jumpers.
We got him and IT, and who was then the number 4 pick, which I forgot who that ended up becoming. Was that not Colin Sexton? Maybe, I don't know. But
remember, no, it wasn't Colin Sexton. No, he came after LeBron left. Remember, they had IT, Jay Crowder, and at one point they had Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose. Like, it was like, yo,
yeah, man, and it didn't work. They were those guys. It didn't work. Too old.
It didn't work.
Old,
No, I wouldn't say that. I was listening to All the Smoke podcast yesterday with Gilbert Arenas. Mm-hmm. And it's actually Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson's podcast.
Oh, they're the ones who got into it with Kwame Brown, right?
Yeah. We could talk about that too. But Gilbert Arenas made a good point. He said, they asked him a question about putting together teams, and basically on paper, that team looked good. IT, Jay, Derrick Rose
was hurt.
He was hurt. Jay Crowder was, out of sorts, whatever. Dwayne Wade
IT got all mad at Kevin Love for getting depressed.
Oh, did he? That's right. He came in messing up. He came in. It's like, yo, man, this is LeBron James's team, bro.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, and I remember the one time, like, LeBron hit the game winner or something, just ignored him on a high five or something.
Jealousy, bro.
Yeah.
This dude is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. He's like, yo, IT, you got to come in line. We're not friends.
Yeah, he's like, your little ass got to go. Your little broke hip ass.
He didn't last. Yeah, he lasted 10 games he played maybe with them?
Maybe.
It was not good.
You want to talk about this Kwame Brown?
So I wasn't really following basketball in the early 2000s. That's when I was just moving to SF, and the Cavs were horrible at that time.
Okay.
They were the worst. And so when they had the blue Ugh, I never liked that blue slash on their unis. But anyway, but yeah, that's when he was drafted, right around then, and he was like a big bust.
2000, yeah,
Yeah.
2000, 2001. But hold up though, we got to discuss that because the dude was in the league for 12 to 13
Yeah,
years.
so he couldn't have been that bad. I mean, not number ones are always going to be the biggest,
Anthony Bennett, he's a bust.
Yeah,
Like,
he was
I mean,
Cleveland's number one.
and I think he's considered a bust because he was out of the league within 3 years. Right? Like he signed like a 3-year
Was it that
contract.
long? Yeah, I remember he went to Minnesota with with the Cavs get Kevin Love.
Yeah, he was there. I think he just showed up on paper. I don't even know if he showed up physically.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins was a high pick, and
Andrew Wiggins,
he's old,
Joe Johnson, not Joe Johnson, but Joe Johnson, but not the Joe Johnson, the shooter, but the one from Maryland, right? Chris Washburn, infamous bust for the Warriors.
Yeah.
But see, Kwame, the thing about Kwame, dude, is Kwame.
So tell everyone what happened so they know.
Okay, so here we go. So
this bully podcast you listen to.
This what?
This podcast of bullies.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, Kwame Brown's a professional basketball player who was drafted directly out of high school by Michael Jordan when he was with the Washington Wizards.
Right. That's right.
Right. He came into the league. He was drafted at 18, and he had high expectations, being the number one pick. He's 7 feet, 270 pounds. You just can't teach that. Playing with Michael Jordan, Michael was a little hard on him. Michael treated him like a grown man. And, Kwame was still a kid. He just wasn't able to handle it. So ultimately, throughout his career, he never fully reached, realized his potential, or at least what other people thought that he should have been with that size and at that position. Right.
Now that's what those guys were saying on that podcast about him, but he would probably disagree with that, or what?
Well, I don't know if he would disagree. Yeah, he disagrees that he's not a bust. Like, he's mad at Stephen A. because Stephen A. called him a scrub, which I'm telling you right now, I don't care if you played NAIA and you were on you're the 14th man on a 15-man team. Someone calls you a scrub, you'd be like, yo, them is fighting words, right?
It's Stephen A. is so annoying.
Dude, if you see the videos that he had where he was going in on this kid and his game and his lack of game, I mean, it was like Stephen A. made a name for himself, like ripping this kid down. So you got an 18-year-old kid who's not living up to expectations. The whole world is watching him, expecting him to become this thing. He never became that thing. Then he got passed around the league. And ultimately, if you watch some of the highlights, man, like I watched some last night. Hey, man, the guy fumbled the ball all the time. He missed layups. He shot air balls. He wasn't very good by NBA standards, right? Now, coming out of high school, he dominated. He did.
Well, you got to be good enough to be there a decade.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at least good enough for teams to still take a chance on you every year.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But like I said, he was 7 feet, and you can't teach.
Oh, he was that tall?
He's that tall, and he was athletic. He was athletic. He could run. He can get up and down the court. And so you got a big man who can move. You kind of take a chance on that, because it's like every coach is thinking, well, I'll just work with him. We'll work on his hands. We'll get him a nice little couple moves around the basket. But it's almost like he came out of high school and plateaued when he got to the NBA. Like, he never really improved, right? Like, what was good enough for high school to dominate a high school just wasn't good enough to dominate in the league. And being the number one pick, expectations were super high. Had he been like, the 37th pick in the second round, then, no one cares, right? But being that number one spot. So Kwame basically listening for years of all these people just ripping him a new one, calling him a scrub, calling him a bust, telling him he's terrible. He finally now has a platform. And I mean, I'm talking about like a decade or more. Like, his name became a punchline, like Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, Justin Bieber. Like, you say those names at the end of a joke and people laugh, not because of, who they are, but because their names have become synonymous with being funny. So Kwame Brown, that's what he turned into. And I think some of the treatment that he got was harsh, man. I mean, you got to remember, this guy was still a person, and they were treating him like it was just a name in theory. So he's been on a tear. I'm talking about.
Is he still going?
Oh man, look, I'll put it like this: the dude he got YouTube, he got a channel now, he got a platform. So every time somebody says something about Kwame Brown he get on that joint. He like, hey, look, so y'all talking any Southern? he throw out a bunch of bitch ass. He go down south on him big time, right? And he got this thing called, he talks about his mama's cooking. He's like,
he does, that's right.
Yeah. He said, but you know what? I'm watching all of y'all. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sprinkle some of mama's cooking. I'm gonna sprinkle some of mama's cooking on there, right? He's like, did you get your mama a house on a golf course? He's like, I took care of my family, and he did, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he did. But
he still did pretty well, so I get it. Yeah,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Well, hold up. But for me, I'm kind of like, yo, man, who cares?
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah, who cares, right? So what? You didn't have a phenomenon. You're not going to the Hall of Fame, right? That's just it. You're not going to the Hall of Fame, but your skills and your talent, whatever, however little you had, it took care of your family for life. You created some generational wealth if you used it right. Hey man, go on about your business. Who cares what these guys say?
Well, right? I mean, that's what he's been doing, but now he
got a platform
up and people like it. And you know, imagine if you were a punchline for 20 years. That's a long time, man. You I want to punch back.
You get mad enough. People talking every time you turn on, you can't even enjoy TV, right? You can't even watch it. You can't even enjoy any of the sports shows because every time something happens, they're like, this guy, look at this guy. He's just not prepared. Another Kwame Brown.
Yeah, I'm like, who the fuck?
Right? You change the channel, you're like, psh, you go to another network. They're like, this guy was highly touted coming out of college, but he just hasn't panned out. He's in trade talks all over the NBA. Another Kwame Brown. You're like, God damn, I gotta change the channel again.
So after a while, you might start up your own YouTube channel.
yeah, exactly. And start clapping back at these dudes. So,
all right. Well, we're supposed to have a guest, Reg, and I don't know where he is. So let me text him.
Okay. So to let you guys know who are listening, our guest today is Sal's cousin Joey.
Yeah, cousin Joey, dude.
Cousin Joey, who just discovered that he had a half sister from Vietnam because his dad was out there,
Yeah, so I'll tell you what.
Okay.
So yeah, I know. You don't know the story, so we met and we got the whole story. It was great.
Hold up, I'm gonna tell you the story. I ain't had to be there for the story. There's a dude in the military who was in a foreign country handling his. I know how babies is made, right? I know how babies are made. I'm joking.
Well, even how they knew each other. All right. Well, I don't know. I texted him. We'll see.
Oh, they got into that. Okay. Oh, you know how they met each other. So he knew her. Like they had a relationship.
So this is what happened. So so he goes to Da Nang, and he was in central Vietnam, and this woman ran a club. She owned a club there, and so the soldiers would go
a nightclub.
Nightclub or like a nightclub where they come back after combat and guys would drink and hang and party, whatever, right?
Okay, like you see in the movies.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then they got to know each other, and then they start hooking up. But then he would go off to combat and he would tell her stuff like, "Hey, if I don't come back, don't look for me because I'm probably dead." And it was it was hardcore. So then one day he never came back and she didn't know if he was alive or dead. And then eventually she finds out she's pregnant. So he had no idea she was pregnant. And that was it. And then this girl was born, and then she's been looking for her dad since she was 12. And then through ancestry DNA, we found each other as first cousins. And and now then we went over. Joey and I met their family on Sunday.
Wow. Hold up though, man. That's amazing.
They live in Garden Grove.
I was gonna say
Vietnam to Garden Grove.
That's what I was gonna say. The fact that she ended up going from Vietnam to Southern California.
Yeah. We're right there.
I don't know how far is
an hour. Okay. Like an hour.
Wow. Something she was just drawn, man. I'm telling you, something genetically just pulled her to this
it was
part.
crazy though. They had like an uncle out here. So there was what's interesting too is so there was a thing that that America had where people, I forget what they call it, but if you were soldiers' kids, from there, you could come to the US and you could bring your family. So they had an uncle in California, and that's why they were able to go to California. Otherwise, they just send you to any state. And I was asking them, I was like, well, how do they even know that she was mixed if they didn't know the dad.
Right.
And they said back then they would just look at her and be like, okay. And then they're like, yeah, you passed. But it's funny because then we got a picture with the three of us,
Okay.
and her and Joey's eyes are exact.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I
Exact,
saw
dude.
that
Like
picture.
oh yeah, it's totally. It's like, oh, okay, so maybe yeah, you could tell. And she didn't know. She thought she was Spanish. She didn't know, and then she finds out she's Italian.
Wow.
Italian.
Dude, I when I saw that picture online, I zoomed in, right?
Yeah, the
And I'm like,
eyes, man. It's
yo,
exact.
dude, it's crazy. Like some of the features are really similar, like very uncanny,
Yeah.
which makes sense considering they share same, DNA,
The
right?
same dad, yeah.
Same dad. Yo, it was yeah, I was looking at that picture and you're trying to get the uncle a job acting or
Oh, he
something.
looked good in that picture, dude. I couldn't believe it because I met him. I barely met him, and you just see him.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too, because like I'm the tallest in that family, too. It's like
Right.
Vietnamese, Italian. Those are two of the shortest. And I don't know how I became so tall.
Hey man, I would say that you were probably the mailman's baby, but considering she found you on Ancestry, I guess
Yeah,
you
and
are
I
connected.
do look like my dad a lot too.
Oh, do
They're
you?
saying I looked like my Uncle Freddie a lot too, because Joey had a more like blondish hair. And then it
Okay.
was funny, so the mom is still alive, and the mom was there, and I met her, and she speaks Vietnamese, made us some pho, which was amazing. It was
Wow.
cooking it all day, dude. Like you could tell when it's legit, when it's the
Yeah.
broth, right? But she said
Right.
like my eyebrows reminded me of this. I got the very Italian eyebrows, which I
Yeah,
could see
thick
that.
eyebrows.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of your Uncle Freddie?
Yeah. There's a
Like if you can do a side by side. I mean, that's got to be for her to look for someone for so long and then to find out that they're dead, but then be able to find, other relatives that knew him. Like that kind of gives her some insight into what he was like. What was he like anyway? Was he a nice guy? Was he kind of
oh yeah. He was a sweet guy. My mom said he was the only time she ever saw my dad cry was at Freddie's funeral.
he died of cancer, you said?
No, it was yeah, I don't know. He had
Vietnam, Agent Orange, something.
no, well, he had, I
Uh,
think there was addiction issues at one time, and then I think
mm,
he caught Hep C, and then at the time they didn't have like a vaccine or anything for that, and so whatever medicine they were giving him eventually wasn't working with his body, and it
right.
eventually his body like deteriorated at the end there.
Oh wow.
Um, let me see if I can find. Here's the picture. I don't know if this will share, but let me see if this will share. See if you could see this.
Let's see Uncle Freddie. Oh wait,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Is he
So
on the
that's
far?
Freddie on the far right
Oh yeah, dude. Look at
with the
your eyebrows.
stash.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, look at the brows. It's true. We do have the same
Yeah.
eyebrows. And there's
Wait, hold
my
up.
dad right there, and the little guy in next to him.
Okay, and that's your grandmother?
And there's my grandma, and there's Charlie. He's the
Who's
one still
Charlie?
alive. He's Uncle Charlie. He's the youngest of the three brothers.
So your dad was Sal, right?
Yeah,
Salvatore. Then you had Uncle Freddie, and then you
yeah,
had an Uncle Charlie,
yeah.
and then
And
this is
that's
their
this
dad
is this
sitting
yeah, and this is
as grandpa.
Colodro. That's Colodro sitting down.
Calodro. Dude, look at that picture, yo.
And
Wow.
that's our old house where we had these like fake bricks attached to the wall.
Those aren't bricks, those are rocks.
Well, yeah, rocks. They're yeah, right. They weren't even rocks though. They were some kind of weird material. Like if you really squeezed it, you could dent it and push it. It's like airy.
It's that 70s
Yeah,
shit, man. I'm
yeah, it
telling
was
you.
very 70s. It was
Very
very
70s.
70s. So yeah,
Yo,
there's
hold
the
up.
fam.
So your grandmother, this is gonna sound crazy, but Walter, I don't have a picture of him, but the guy that my mom was married, the guy Walter, who I knew as my dad as a kid,
Mhm.
his mom, Walter looked white, right? He was super fair skinned, like he could pass for a white guy,
Mhm.
but his mom looks just like your grandmother.
Really?
I mean,
Wow.
with the deep set eyes, right?
Yeah.
The nose, the
Yeah.
lip, the same shape, the cheekbones, and the chin, like identical. I remember going down to Tuscaloosa, down in the country, and seeing her and looking at that picture right now. It's like looking at the same person, like a doppelganger.
Wow.
It's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's very
yeah.
crazy. Well, yeah, there it is.
Look at that, man. It's good seeing your pops too. That's the guy I can finally put. I can put that
Oh
voice with
yeah,
a
dude.
face.
Yeah.
So So
yeah,
how does
dude,
it
that
feel,
was
man?
that. I mean, it was really cool, man. It was surreal, man. It was
Yeah.
like because everyone. Oh, that's the thing, man. Greatest family, coolest people. Like, so I met. She's got. So she's the oldest, of course, and then she's got two younger sisters and a brother. So I met all
Uh-huh.
them, and then even the sisters' kids were at her place. They're really cool. Like everyone's educated, vaccinated, open-minded. It was really nice, dude. It's nice to go to a family reunion. You don't have to explain why Black Lives Matter. It was pretty nice.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm so happy that you found
The
some
food, they
civilized.
had all kinds of food. It was just like, all right, we could get along with this. We could connect on this. Food,
Dude, that's
noodles.
awesome.
We like noodles too.
Yeah, exactly. Dude,
Uh,
that's awesome, man. Congratulations on finding some like good people in your life, man. That's
yeah, they
awesome.
were there. Yeah, they were really nice. They were cool. Oh, the one sister joined on trivia. We were playing trivia on Tuesday on my trivia
Okay.
night. She joined in at the end. I was like, oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, that's
So
cool, dude.
yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're great people. And pho, it was on my cousin Joey. I was hoping to be here so I could bust his balls about calling it. He didn't know how to pronounce it. Pho. He's like, I never had this stuff before. What is this stuff? I'm like, bro, you've been in California for like 20 years. How do you not have this?
Yeah, exactly.
Cleveland. What do you just eat meat and potatoes all the time? What the hell's wrong with you? You're making us look like idiots. And then he brings up. He's like, yeah, you ever see that movie Platoon? But he's like, but then he's like, it's funny because he's like, my dad was saying that's where the war was most like. Was it Platoon? He's like, that's the one where the guy shoots himself in basic training. I'm like, no, that's straight Full Metal
That's
Jacket. Oh
Full
yeah,
Metal
that's a great
Jacket.
fucking good movie. Yeah. I was like, what is this conversation we're having right now?
Dude, Joey
So
is that's
he's a
funny.
trip, dude.
He brings up Platoon. Dude, Platoon had some pretty harsh.
It was pretty messed up.
It was
From what I
messed up,
remember.
especially. Well, what was the other one? It was Platoon, the one where they had they were up in the mountains and they had like the village area that they had kind of locked down.
I'm not sure. I'm not
Right?
sure.
Wait,
He
which
says
one is
he's
that one?
coming in. He says he's on it. All
Okay.
right. We'll see what it's at. We'll know once his screen pops up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one that was. The story is cool too. The ladies, I mean, this lady, so she was saying like even the mom, like her family was split at the time. Like some of her family were communists, right? Because Vietnam was
Oh,
communist, and then
right,
she
right, right.
wasn't, and she went off and did her own thing. And then she when Saigon fell, she was selling fried dough in the streets and like spicy beef noodle, and she has this baby. And then she met this guy she's with now still, which is cool. And so, but it was just crazy how far they've come.
Right, right.
And
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
we'll see. So Joey's trying to come in now.
Gee, man, that's crazy, man. I
I
mean,
know,
that's cool.
right? It was,
Yeah.
yeah. There was a couple times too where I'd catch the mom just like looking at me like, "Yeah, dude, you look like that motherfucker. You
She's
look
like,
like that
yeah.
guy. You
She's
look
like,
like that
I was in love with a dude that looked like you. Or maybe I don't know if
guy."
maybe there wasn't love involved. Maybe it was just fun, but whatever. I remember a guy being important to me at one point, like that looked like you. That's gotta be kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Oh,
there he
there he
is.
is. There he is. Oh, here
What's
we
up,
gotta unmute
Joey?
you, bro. We gotta unmute you.
Hey
Oh,
Hey,
guys,
there
can
you
you hear
are.
Joey.
me?
There you are.
Yeah,
There
there
you
you
are.
Hey,
are.
What's up, buddy?
so I had to go into my settings and allow microphone access
Okay.
and camera access.
Nice.
Okay.
This
Well,
you
good
doing,
to
is
see you.
Yeah, it's
this
good
is
to
the
see you,
first
man.
time I've done this.
Oh well.
Oh, Zoom. You've never done Zoom before.
I've never done Zoom on my phone ever.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad we got a chance to be. I'm glad we're the first ones to.
What are you on a set right there? Where you at?
Yeah, I'm at Amazon Studios. Amazon just bought Culver City
MGM.
Studios,
Yeah.
and then they just bought MGM for $9 billion or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
the prop truck is inside, but the cell service falls off inside. So I don't want to. I would love to do the Zoom from the truck, but I would hate to lose you guys.
Well, you look good in the natural light, so that's a good look.
Yeah. The natural light is really good.
So,
Man,
hey,
I miss you guys.
Yeah,
it's
so
good to see you, man.
We were just talking about. There you go. We were just talking about the meeting, dude. So we walk in, and what I always remember, they posted a video of her running to the door to meet Joey.
Yeah,
that was the sweetest thing I saw.
Oh wow, that's really nice. How did it feel, Joey, when you got that call
Well,
that you had a half sister?
My buddy is a director, and he sold some shows before, and he told me on Facebook to have my son shoot the initial meeting. And my son tried to do it, but I'm carrying a bottle of wine and a bouquet of flowers and a huge glass picture frame with 8 photos of my dad in it, right? That I was going to give to her.
Oh, nice.
And
she never
Rossi
saw her dad until this week.
Yeah.
She never saw pictures.
Wow.
And it's so crazy, man. Like, I was super happy when Sal told me, and I was so happy that I thought I had a sister in Vietnam. But Sal's like, no, dude, she lives. She lives right down the street, dude. She's 20 miles away.
Wow, dude, that's crazy. You guys have maybe even seen each other and didn't even know it.
Dude, it's the crazy shit. And now we have a whole new family, and all my family's dead. I got no family out here. I got a brother that lives up north, and you know, man, it's been so sweet, dude. So Thursday night, my son's bicycle gets stolen, and then Friday morning, my sister's like, I got a bike for him.
Wow.
And they're the same size.
Oh, wow. Dude, that's
she's 50 and he's 11.
Yeah. So, hey, sometimes it works out that way. But that's awesome that she got a bike for him. That's awesome, man. Well, congratulations to you.
Did you feel, I felt like so surreal afterwards when we came back home that day. It was a surreal day on Sunday when we met everyone.
You know what, man? I'm just so happy that Sal came, dude, because Sal, it's hard to get him to come out. Like, I invited him to my place during COVID, dude. I was in his neighborhood, and he's like, no, don't come by here. I'm like, dude, I'm vaccinated. He's like, I don't know, man. You know, and he's young, and his girl is young, dude. They're gonna be fine. Their lungs are in great shape.
Right. That's funny.
But no, hey. I was telling him it was nice. Everyone was vaccinated, educated, open-minded. It was nice to meet everybody.
Wow, that's awesome, family. Man. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy, man. How did you have any thoughts in regards to, like, man, this is a part of your dad's life before you, you know what I mean? Like he had this whole life that he lived, and now there's a part of that life that's made its way into your life now.
Yeah, and I asked my dad's girlfriend from Vietnam what they called him, because I knew him as Al, right? That's what my mom. But the rest of the family called him Freddie. And his real name on his passport is Philadelphia. And then, but like, it's like Alfredo in English or something, right? So I asked the mom what they called him, and she said, we called him Mustache.
No way, because he did have a big mustache.
He did have a mustache, but she owned a club on the Army base. And every time my dad would come back from combat, he would go to the club and hang out with this lady. And he said, don't come looking for me if I don't come back. I'm dead and gone. Don't worry about me, you know? And then he comes back to America, and then she has a baby girl, and she doesn't have a husband or any other family. And, you know, they live in this little village, man, and all their friends and family were killed in the middle of a war zone. And they're poor and they don't have anything. And they, you know, they sleep on a dirt floor in a hut every night, you know? So it was like a crazy, crazy deal. And then she remarried a really sweet guy who we met last weekend, who was the stepdad. And then, you know, the mom and dad didn't really want to talk about the history, but because it kind of made him feel bad because he was the new dad. He's taking care of her. And so she's got a couple sisters and a brother, and they all have kids, and she's got a kid. And it was just like, man, there was no paperwork. They didn't know his name. They didn't know his last name. And in the late 80s.
What's the last name to Mustache?
Beard. And Beard. First name Mustache, last name and Beard.
Right.
Okay.
And then they went to the American embassy, because if you're half white, you get bullied. You know, no one likes you. No one wants to speak Vietnamese to you. And even
the Vietnamese didn't talk to her.
Yeah. I was gonna say they don't like that. They didn't. Well, because they looked at the Americans kind of as, you know, invaders.
Right. Completely. And we're killing all their kids and their grandmas and grandpas and their, you know, little babies, man, and just bombing villages, just to, like, with jet planes that they'd never seen before in their life. So they went to the embassy, And I was like, how did you get to come to America? Because you didn't know his name. And they're like, they just looked at me and they saw that I was half white. And they're like, okay, your whole family can come to America.
Wow.
Whole family. It's crazy.
Whole family.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
And you could see, I was telling him in the picture, you could see your eyes, you and her eyes look exact, man.
Yeah. And I thought my brother, like I thought it looked like my brother, but you know, a couple of people said she looks like me, and I'm just happy to have some family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someplace to go on Sundays. They made up this huge spread.
Yeah.
That was so stuffed. And you know what was so funny? My sister said, my son's playing pool in the front room. There's a beautiful pool table. And my kid's playing with his new cousin, this 9-year-old girl. And my sister's like, hey, come to the ping pong club. And my sister's a pro ping pong player. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm so stuffed. I got to work in the morning. We should just get out of here. Like, we've been here for like 5 hours and Sal was still there. I couldn't believe it. He's in and out.
All that food, buddy.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to go home. And my sister said, look, leave the kid with me and I'll bring him back later. I'll take him to the ping pong club. And he's like, yeah, do that. And so I just met her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any real proof.
Oh, those eyes.
But I met the family, and my son is like, yeah, Dad. And I had to find my iPhone on my phone, and I was checking up on them. But they were supposed to be home at 8 o'clock, and it was 8 o'clock. And I called him. He's like, I got to play a couple more games of pool, Dad, before we leave. I'm like, dude, you got school in the morning. You need to get home.
Yeah.
And they showed up after 9, and my sister got to come see my apartment.
Wow.
And, you know, like, I gave her a ring, and I gave her some photos.
Yeah.
And I gave her, you know, I gave her mom flowers, and I brought a bottle of wine, and I'm so happy Sal showed up. And dude, Sal's girl she is a wonderful, wonderful lady. You know what I mean?
Nice.
She's just super cool and super sweet, and she loves my kid. And
it was really fun time, man. And everyone was really cool. I was telling them the one sister played trivia on Tuesday.
No way.
Yeah, dude, she joined on the thing. They played at the end there.
Yeah.
Dude, they're all in, man. Yo, Joey, I give you props, man, for being so open and for being a class act, man. Showing up with the wine and the flowers, man. That's a really kind and classy thing to do, man. And to accept them with open arms, right?
Yeah.
To like, that's awesome, man. Good thing Sal signed up for Ancestry.com.
Yeah, dude, it was funny, man. It was funny.
We're texting and talking on the phone every day, and she was crying, like they sent her home from work, man.
Yeah.
And she was all fucked up, and I was like, "What's up, sis?" And she's like, "Now that I see his face, it's all overwhelming, and I can't do it." And I was like, "Listen, I need you to be okay. Dad would want you to be okay, and you got a new family, and you got to bring your whole family to America." And
that has got to be a lot for her. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah,
you're right.
I mean, to look for someone that long, that's overwhelming. You know, man, this is like, honestly, this is like TV stuff right here. Like, this could be if the networks knew. Yeah, seriously, if the networks knew, they would have filmed her coming. Like, they probably would have sent her back to Vietnam to film her coming back here, and then have her at the airport. Huh?
She booked a ticket to Cleveland to go to my dad's grave for the anniversary of his death, August 27th.
Whoa!
With her mom. Already.
Wow. Yo, that's serious, man. I think that goes to show too, like, that's a testament to how what kind of impact your dad had on their lives, even her mom, right? Yeah. That that he meant something to them. Like, he's not just a person that came and went. He's like somebody that meant something. So kudos to them, man. Seriously. And that's awesome that you gave them the pictures too, so she can have something to look at. Cause I'm sure she's gonna stare at that and look at herself and be like, this is what it is. And she has you as far as an oral history of who he was and what he did. And so that's cool, man.
So she was super sad. I was like, hey man, he wasn't really that great of a guy. You know what I mean? Like, my mom would take us to church on Sunday morning, 8:30 mass in Cleveland in the St. Augustine's, and then she would drop us off in my dad's house. He would roll a joint, smoke it in front of me and my brother.
Okay.
In the same room, we would watch Gunsmoke or Bonanza, and then he would take us to my grandparents' house. My grandparents would give me money every weekend and make some pasta.
Okay.
And we'd eat it. And my dad stole all that money and spent it on heroin.
Oh, man.
Like, he never remembered birthdays, dude. I never got any gifts from that guy, but I loved him so much. I thought he was the sweetest dude. Like, he never hit us. He was just cool.
Right.
And it was just
he
like,
was sweet. That's what I told
Yeah.
him. Like, he was sweet.
But
he
you
was,
know,
he was
Joey,
a good dude.
Joey, look, I don't know your dad, but knowing the history of Vietnam and knowing what kind of impact it had on people and how many people came back and had a hard time, because in the military they send you over there and they put you and they drop you off in the shit, man, really.
Yeah.
And people are dying and blowing up next to you. And then when you come back, there are no resources to help you learn how to manage those things. So a lot of people self-medicated. I'm really sorry that your dad was, you know, that's what it was for him in order for him to cope. But you know, I'm sure that if he had a chance to do it differently, I'm sure he would.
Of course.
I mean,
of course. And his mom, or his girlfriend, my new sister's mom, told a story that he smoked some pot, he drank some beers, and then he went down in a helicopter crash and he hid under his friends' bodies to survive. And after that happened, he started doing heroin. And I don't blame him, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like people with addiction, once you start, it rewires your brain. So it's not your fault. You're not a bad person.
Right.
It's a disease, man. And it's really something that we have to get a hold of.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
I mean, but imagine how traumatic that is.
Dude.
Like, you know, one moment you're in a helicopter, next minute you're hiding under dead bodies.
Yeah.
And then they expect you to just come back and act like things are normal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not normal, man.
And
That's
he was
abnormal.
a kid.
And he was a
18
kid.
years old.
Yeah.
And he lived in Sicily until he was 10 years old. His parents never spoke English. They never drove a car. And he wanted to fight for his country because he thought his country saved him. He was starving in Sicily.
Right.
And he came here and he went to war thinking that red, white, and blue, man, everyone loves it. Let's wave the flag. And then he gets there and he learns that it's lies and bullshit and death and destruction and heartbreak.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, man, that's tough. I think this is also a story about our country and the lack of resources that we have for veterans, right? That we need to take care of them, right? If we're gonna say, like, I was fortunate enough to go over to, I was supposed to be going over to Afghanistan to perform for the troops, right? But we got stuck in Germany. I ended up doing shows on the bases at Ramstein and Simbach, and part of the shows we did at the infirmaries for these guys who were injured over in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I listened to all these stories, man. And I got to tell you, the thing that I took from that experience was, even if I don't necessarily support our US government and the way that they handle international affairs and how we go into other countries and, you know, we get into war and whatever the case may be. But the young people who sign up, right? I'm over there at probably, I think I was like 33 at the time, 34. And I'm sitting there looking at 19, 18, 20, 21-year-old kids, right? So young, who signed up for the same reason that your dad signed up, because, you know, they felt like they wanted to support and be a part of their country. And they get over into these places, man, and they're put in some of the worst and most harsh conditions. And even though like I said, I don't necessarily approve of our approach to things, I do support the troops, because when you're in it, man, there has to be some help for you.
It's a rigged system where if you are poor, like most of America, and you want to go to college, you got to go give yourself to the government, man.
Right.
And because of what happened to my father, I was going to be a fireman on an Air Force base. The Marines told me that I passed I got 100% on their test. I could do whatever I want. And my mom was like, I won't let you go to the Army. I won't let you go to the Marines. Look what happened to your father. And he didn't die, right? So, 57,000 Americans died and hundreds of thousands came back addicted and with problems and without legs. And my mom paid my college. She gave me her paychecks for years just so I wouldn't go to the Army. And I told her I wasn't going to take any loans, but you want me to go to college, you know, you got to pay for it. And my stepdad paid for the mortgage.
Right. Wow. You know? I mean, that's a testament to your mom too, dude.
Joey always loves my pops. So here's a little pops story. My brother was in the Marines for 6 years. And, you know, he came back and he was selling baseball cards. It was a security guard, and he ended up, you know, eventually going to college. But the military called our place when I was 18, and my dad answered the phone. And he's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is the U.S. Marines. You want to talk to your son, Salvatore?" He goes, "Huh, you already fucked up one of my kids. You're not getting the other."
That's awesome. I love your dad for that one. You know, hey, look, as a black person who grew up in the South, right? And you know, we all know the stories of black men coming back from Vietnam and you know living on the streets and being addicted, heroin and whatever else they could find. Growing up for me, it was like it was literally said that the U.S. government or the military is not a place for a black man, right? Like you cannot go. You can go to college and you can go to work, but you can't go to the military.
Right.
So,
and it just came out 1 in 4, I believe, of the people at the Capitol riots have military ties. 1 in 4 of the people arrested. It's crazy, man.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, if you want to go to college, you want a GI Bill to be able to afford a house, right? You know, you want some stability. Like you said, a lot of poor kids end up going to the military because they're in rough situations, and so the military will provide some stability, right?
Sure.
You get paid, and what do you have to do? You just show up, but your service and possibly sacrificing your mind and your body to the government in exchange for some stability shouldn't be the case. But man, good thing you had your mom, right?
Yeah, man, she was an angel. Now, she wasn't great at picking husbands. But
so let me ask you, wasn't your mom an ex-nun?
Dude, she was going to be a nun and she went to a convent and she was like, yeah, I don't think this is really for me. And then she was working at a methadone clinic or a VA hospital, and she met my dad and they fell in love. And they had my brother, and then they had me, and he was already all fucked up from war. You know, so her choice of dudes.
It sounds like your mom is obviously I don't know any of these people, but it sounds like your mom is a giver. Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like she's a giver and she's a person that wants to help people. And sometimes when you try to help people, that help can be misinterpreted, right? And misconstrued. And what turns out to be something is like me trying to provide you with some assistance can turn into love, right?
Sure.
Right.
Sure. And then maybe you just get pregnant, you know. She worked all her life with little kids that had cancer, and then she retired, got pancreatic cancer, and died.
Oh man. Okay.
Dude, terrible story.
Yeah, but she helped a lot of people, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right? Sure. And listen, I'm lucky that I had her for 38 years.
There you go. You go. I mean? Seriously. I mean, it's, you know, we wish that everyone's story would end with like a storybook ending, right? You go to sleep one night at 98 and you just don't wake up and that's it. But it's not about how you leave, but how you live.
Yeah.
Right. And it sounds like how your mom lived, you know, like you said, helping out young people, helping out kids. She did what she was cancer kids. So she did what she was supposed to do. She sounds like she fulfilled her mission. And then, you know, when it was time to go and I personally just lost a friend to pancreatic cancer, probably about a month ago now. And he'd been fighting it not fighting because you can't fight pancreatic cancer, but he had it for 3 years. And, you know, finally it took its toll.
Was it Alex Trebek?
No, that's my other friend. He passed before. Alex passed before.
I was so mad that I thought Alex was going to live, and I was like, okay, so my mom just died, and now Alex Trebek. Now they come up with all this way to say, they like my dad died of hepatitis C, and now they have a vaccine for it, and if you're in the VA, you get it, but it's like $25,000 or something ridiculous. So the only way you can get it is if you're in the VA, you know?
Yeah.
And it's weird, man.
Well, you know, Aretha Franklin died from pancreatic cancer. Steve Jobs died from pancreatic cancer.
Bill Hicks
died from pancreatic cancer. He died at 34, I think it was.
I think it was 32, cancer. I think.
32. You know, Steve Jobs was he wanted to live so bad. He was trying to see if you can actually have, like he wanted a donor. Like he was trying to see if he can have his pancreas, and you can't. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how you know, cancer, especially pancreatic cancer. It's a tough one, and it can be painful, right? Yeah. My buddy PH, the one thing he talked about was, and we talked regularly. Once I found out he had it, then you know, and I've experienced my share of loss throughout my life. So once I knew he had it, I know what that is. I made it a point to make sure that we talked, and I text him and we get, you know, whatever the case may be for as much. And the one thing he always talked about was the pain. And I, you know, that's hard. But the other side too is that whole thing with finding vaccines and finding cures. the timing of those things can be brutal. I lost
Sure.
I lost one of my good friends in college, a sweet mate. I lost him to heart disease. And I remember like right when Viagra came out, it's gonna sound crazy, but right when Viagra came out, they were talking about one of the side effects of Viagra is that it can help with heart disease because it opens up the valves to get things moving. And I remember reading that, and I didn't know how impactful it was until I found myself crying, right? I'm sitting there crying because I lost a friend at 21 years old from heart disease. And then 5 years later, they invent Viagra and they're like, yo, this can help with heart disease. And I just had this moment of like, he could have, had it been just a little while later, maybe he could have lived.
They were working on Viagra to make it a heart drug. And they found out that the side effect was
an erection that could last for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I knew a guy who had to go to the doctor because he was too young and healthy, and he took it. And then you gotta, yeah, dude, no, and you had to go to the doctor, and they had to like give a shot or something because you're right, you can get gangrene, and that shit can fall off.
What they do is they give you a shot in your Johnson, and then they have to draw the blood out, right?
Yeah,
because that fills up the chambers. But remember that there used to be this joke where it's like, it's like, yo, if you take Viagra, one of the side effects is you could have an erection for 4 hours, and they're like, call a doctor. I ain't calling a doctor. I'm calling everybody I know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up? But yeah, man, it's I'm sorry, your mom. I'm sorry that's a tough one, man. Pancreatic cancer. But like I said, it sounded like she fulfilled her life's mission, right?
Yeah, man.
She did what she's supposed to do.
It was really sweet, man. I flew home and she was at our house in Tremont, the house that she built on a cliff overlooking the city that she loved. And I wanted to come home and do some videos and record her. And my parents were terrible, and they were supposed to let me know. My mom was like, don't come back, don't mess up with your job. And my boss was like, I'll buy your ticket. And I said, listen, I got miles, don't worry about it. And I flew home, and I was upstairs, and I heard my stepdad outside with the gardener. And I knew my mom only had a day or two left. Like, she couldn't talk. She was on morphine or some heavy duty,
she was in hospice. Sound like she was in hospice care. Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, my mom's all alone. So I go downstairs and I put a couple sweet Grateful Dead songs on YouTube, Broke Down Palace and Standing on the Moon. And I sang her these songs with YouTube playing in the background. Yeah. And she was alive when I started. And when the second song finished, she was gone.
Wow.
And maybe she was like, oh my God, I can't take any more of this. I gotta.
No, that's funny.
She chose me to be with her when she left, right? And it was so peaceful, and there was no struggle, there was no pain, and it was just beautiful. And then I went outside and told my stepdad, and now he sold the house and he's remarried, and it's a whole deal. But she was an angel, man. And nice. I just that I can be that to my son.
Yeah.
And
dude, having that, I think that's having that opportunity to be there and be with her as she transitioned. That's all she needed, man. She was happy. Yeah. She left because she was happy, right? She's like, someone's
okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's like, I'm okay. He's okay. Yeah. And this is a great moment. I'm sitting here with my son. He's singing to me. Like, that's love, man. That's love. Like, no one. Yeah. I don't know if you could ask for anything better than that, right?
There is an old joke. What did the Deadhead say after the marijuana ran out? What's that shitty music?
But listen, give yourself a minute and search up Standing on the Moon and Broke Down Palace. And you guys spent some time in San Francisco. Sal, for sure, you lived there for a while.
I've seen the house. I've seen the house over there.
Yeah, so the whole song is, I'm standing on the moon, and you see war, and you see struggle, and you see pain, but I'd rather be with you in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So check out Standing on the Moon and check out Broke Down Palace. I don't love all the Grateful Dead songs. The ones that are, like the ones that you would know or that you would hear, they're not my favorites, but these two are amazing songs. And it was just beautiful.
Wow, that's great, man. That's great.
That's cool.
I wish more people had an opportunity to say goodbye. Right?
Yeah. My brother wasn't there. My kid wasn't there.
Yeah. It's hard, man, because people feel like, once they're gone, everyone feels like they didn't get a chance to say that last thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important for us to say it as often as much as we can now when the people are here to hear it, right?
Yeah.
So to be present, man, that's kudos to you, man. I give you props for being there.
Hey, so call your moms and get your vaccines.
Well, my mom passed away. My mom passed in 2016, and I have an interesting story about that too. But I'm not going to get into that now. But yeah, my mom passed in 2016.
Next week.
Yeah, next week.
Hey, before you go back to work, Joey, is LeBron going back to the finals? You going to win another one?
Of course, dude. He's hitting threes like a monster now.
Yeah, dude. I was just telling Reggie that yesterday, how he developed his 3-point game, and now he's got that ugly fadeaway, but it works.
Listen,
and
he's so
great.
big, it's like me from the foul line. It's crazy how big that dude is.
Yeah,
he's big. It's funny because you see him by himself, and then you go, okay, whatever, and then you see him next to someone, and you go, holy cow,
Right?
This dude is. He's like,
He's a
I saw
monster.
him next to Dennis Schroeder yesterday. I thought he was going to put him inside his whole chest.
Hey, man, he brought the championship to Cleveland. That's all I wanted. After they won, I was at this bar in Hollywood, and we didn't know what to do.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
That was so crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know you Cleveland guys. You guys have been so upset about not having won anything for so long. And now that you win something, you don't even know what to do with yourself now.
Yeah, we don't know what to do.
You saw that. You saw the parade of kids hanging, people hanging from the parking structures. 2 million people, man.
You guys are literally like, what am I going to be angry about now?
Yeah.
Like, we're no longer losers. Oh, man. Thanks, LeBron.
It's been wonderful talking to you guys.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
You know, anytime you want to talk about motorcycles or racing or movies or TV, like whatever you want to talk about, I'm around, man. Maybe we should make this a 3-way podcast every week.
There you go. I like that. I like that endorsement for yourself, Joey. That's nice, man.
Come on, man. I got 100 followers.
Hey, dude. Hey, look. Hey, man. You know what they say? A closed mouth don't get fed, right?
That's right. That's right.
If you want something, you got to ask for it. So.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease, and that man is squeaky.
Hey, Joey, it's been great seeing you, man. It's been a long time. Last
Good
time I saw you
man.
at the Ice House in Pasadena, man. So.
That was the time you drove me on the motorcycle.
Yeah, that was great.
I got a picture from that night. Me, Sal, you, Mike,
really?
Holly. Yeah, remember what's her name? Remember the short one? What's her name with the tattoos? Shucks, I can't think of her name. Her dad used to manage like Led Zeppelin.
Oh, Sammy.
Sammy Safer. Sammy Safer's there. And Mike Holly and whoever he was seeing.
So he gave me a ride on his motorcycle from Santa Monica all the way to Pasadena.
In terrible traffic.
It was horrible.
Wow.
Like he went through all the cars. I'm like trying not to hit the rear view mirror or the side mirrors.
Nice. Well, hey, Joey, go ahead and do your thing, man. We know you got to get back to work.
Yeah, man. There's your prop truck looking good.
Yeah.
The
and it's a wrap. Because remember, he said inside they don't have good reception. So, all right. Peace out, Joey. We'll see you next time, brother.
All right, bro. Here, let's see if
All right.
Exactly. There it is, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I won't get a word edgewise if we let that dude do it too. You got you and him. I can't handle all that. That's too much. I wanted
man. You got to admit though, that was pretty interesting. That story
was great, dude. Joey's great. Joey's very sweet too, and he's got a great way of talking about it. And he knows what's important in life and what's good.
No, absolutely. I mean, we brought him on to talk about the fact that he just found out he has new family. Right.
Yeah.
Has a half sister that he didn't know existed. And then it not descended, but then it transitioned to talking about the military, talking about his dad's addiction, talking about his mom. Like,
hilarious comedy podcast material.
Well, the thing is, we're real, dude. We're real.
We are real. That's true.
We're real.
Really serious and not
really
funny.
serious. Really
no,
serious.
We got that. It was good. And you're right. Yeah, it's good to. Yeah, it's and it's cool. He's got the new family, but then you still reflect on the old, you know.
Right. So you say we're too serious. So let's should we go somewhere funny?
It's almost time to wrap up now.
Oh, is it? Okay. But I think we should do at least one comedy question.
All right, what do you want to do?
Shucks, I'm gonna have to get going too.
See,
I do. I got
we'll
a
do
minute.
it next week because I have an idea. Oh well. I mean,
I got a minute. What you got?
I got whatever you need, buddy. I got a lot of editing to do. That's what I got.
Hey, man, I want to address this real quick, and then we'll let it go.
Hey, I got a show next week on Thursday. We should promote that before I forget.
Oh, there you go.
You're back at Diablo Comedy, headlining Grant Lyon.
Oh, nice. Grant is
Yeah.
great. He's a funny guy. Please go out and see Sal and Friends.
All right,
at
what do you
the
want to
Level.
address?
I think that people enjoy you giving me shit
Oh, they love it?
entirely too much.
How's that?
Dude, it's like that's some of the main feedback I get. They're like, oh, I love when Sal gets into you. I love
Oh,
when
really?
Sal busts your balls. I love when Sal does this to you. I'm like,
Oh, great, good. That's what I always loved about you, though, because like we're both very good at that. And like, look, I've gotten my balls busted my whole life, and then
right.
a lot of times people are like, you're a dick, you're this, you're that. And Reggie is this big positive force that you could throw whatever into him, and he's like, oh, that's great. And then he just could throw it back or just laugh it off, and like it never.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, it doesn't affect you, so it's fun, and it's almost like. Yeah, I don't know. I like poking.
Look, hey, I'll tell you this much, and then we gotta go. But and then I gotta go. But I got to that. It took me a long time to get to that point because when I used to get poked as a kid, I mean, seriously, I was ready to fight everybody. Like I seriously would be like, I'll fight all y'all. Y'all want to mess with me? Come on. Why do you think I started lifting weights in sixth grade? Because I wanted to rip heads off. Like I wanted to kill kids. Like I was like, all right. And then I had to find a way because my buddy, and I got to give props to my boy Billy Shepard. I love Billy. Billy was the one kid that came to me and was like, Reg, you don't see what they're doing? He's like, they like poking you because they like to see you lose it, right? Yeah. They like to see you lose your shit. And it's fun for them. He's like, stop giving them that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's what it is. And then that kind of just turned the whole thing. It was like, now I see that you're intentionally trying to get under my skin because you want to see me lose my shit.
Right.
Now the only difference is that if I would have lost my shit and then I start punching people in the face, then they'd be like, hey, don't mess with him. Don't mess with him. Like he actually punched people in the face and he's knocked kids out. Right. So, but it took me a long time to get there. So now that I'm here, I'm like, it's just fun. And plus things have worked out for me. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I can take a little ribbon because.
And plus you can appreciate the humor in it. Which because you're a comedian, and that's where a lot of it comes from too. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And plus, if you can't laugh at yourself, right? Then who can you laugh at?
Right.
Like if you can't laugh at yourself, and maybe some of the things about yourself that are quirky or a little off or different or outside the norm. Like,
I mean, that's what we talk about on stage a lot of times because that's what exactly. You know what I mean. And it's funny when you have you're not able to be vulnerable a lot of times in your life, but when you're able to do that in a public setting, they appreciate it.
That's true. Hey, they do appreciate it, and that's one of the things that I admire about certain comedians, like that level of vulnerability, that level of exposure for themselves.
Yeah,
I know that I lack that. Like. I think that's one of the reasons I admire Richard Pryor so much because the dude could get up and really just expose himself completely. I'm telling you now, I'm not capable. I don't even want to, right? Like I don't even want to be that vulnerable because as much as I love the art and the artistry and the craft, there's not an even trade-off for me, right? Like the amount that I could expose or give up of myself, what I get back isn't enough for me in that format. Right,
how would you know that unless you've done it?
Because I've seen it. Like I can watch other people and I think, could I say that? Would I want to say that? I don't. Right. But then
it depends. I mean, sometimes it could be healing. I feel it depends what it is too.
Well, see, that's what I was going to say too. Like in my personal life, then I have situations or people that I can talk to and be vulnerable with. And then I can experience that growth or that change or even that revelation about myself. And I can experience that growth. I don't think that personally that I need to do that on stage with a room full of people that I don't know.
Right.
So that's it. But yeah, man, I ain't afraid to admit, that's that level of vulnerability. I see it, right? You see Louis C.K.
And then Reggie does stuff like that where I try to make a little joke and bust his balls about not being vulnerable. And then he's like, oh, yes, I accept that. I take that in. And then it's like, well, you just ruined the whole fun of it.
Oh, my bad. Okay, how should I respond? I respond like, that's whatever, Sal.
All right, well, thanks for listening. All right, buddy.
Hey,
Well, good times, and
yes, sir.
yeah,
It's always
we'll
a
do it
pleasure,
again
brother.
next week.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time. Spitballing. Peace.
All right, peace out.